my sewing friends. This is Friday Sews. I'm Jen, and this is my sewing room where I make all the things and where I do Friday Sews. Actually, it's where I created Friday Sews, and that is just a weekly series where we sewing YouTubers can talk about what's on our table, what's going to be on our table, what's been on our table, what we got finished, what we're working on. You know, random thoughts here and there, life, you know, whatever we want to talk about on Fridays. But it's just a kind of fun time to connect with all of you and with each other. So this week, let me tell you about sewing. First up is this dress that I'm wearing. This is the Rae dress from Tessuti Patterns. I have a lot to tell you about Tessuti Patterns. I won't get into all that right now, but I will tell you this. Their patterns are fantastic. So I have a lot of praise for them. I also have some criticisms, but more praise than not. So I'll get to that in its own video, which I can tell you all about it. I also finished New Look 6341. This is the cutest little pattern. Well, I made this about 2 years ago for my youngest daughter for Christmas, and she loves that dress. And she's gotten a lot of compliments on that dress because she can wear the heck out of that dress. I mean, yeah. It just fits her perfectly is what I want to say. I made it for her sister recently, this past Christmas, and she loves it. And so the youngest needs work clothes. So I made her another one yesterday out of this quilting cotton. All three that I've made have been quilting cottons. But you know, when you've made something before, it makes all the difference. It can go really quickly. This is a lined bodice. And I know some of you are cringing. Yes, Carol, I'm talking to you. When I say lining, but I gotta tell you, lining is so easy. It's honestly, I like it better than facings or bindings, like bias bindings. It takes more fabric, but man, you don't spend any more time doing a lining than you would any of those things. And there are ways to just make it look fantastic without doing a whole lot of work. So if you want to know more about that, I will tell you more about that. But this just turned out so cute. And this morning she was getting ready to go to work and I said, wait, let me take a picture of you. So I did, and she looks great in it. Because I was already sewing for her and I was kind of on a roll, I decided, well, I'll cut this out too. So this is Kwik Sew 4138. I cut that out last night, but I got really tired because I'd been in here all day sewing the other dress and I thought, no, I need to quit. So I did. But I cut out this for her, just barely squeaked by with enough fabric. Man, I'm talking squeaked by. Looks kind of like this. It's a full gathered skirt. It's a full circle skirt, but it's totally gathered too, and it has these little straps in the back. It's going to be just so cute. And I made her a t-shirt, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, because she needed a white t-shirt, and I had some white fabric, and I thought, I'm just going to whip you up a t-shirt. That did take about 2 hours. But I cut this out last night and marked it, and it's ready to sew, but I did it out of this. This is fabric, just a very lightweight cotton. It's a printed cotton, but the cool thing is you could use either side, the printed side or the wrong side of the fabric, which just has a little bit of dimension, I think. This is something that I got at the Scrap Exchange in Durham, North Carolina, which is a thrift store for crafts and hobbies. And washed it, dried it, made the other dress while I was doing that, and then cut it out last night. So I just think that's going to be adorable. And I will make sure that I show you pictures when I do get it done. One thing I want to tell you about is the fact that it calls for a zip up the back. So I went to put the zipper in, and it's an invisible zipper. Well, I took a class at the Sewing Expo last weekend in how to use presser feet in different ways than the way that they were originally intended. And one of the things that I learned was that you can use a pintuck foot to put in an invisible zipper. Well, on my machine, this is what my pintuck foot looks like. But you can see it has these little grooves. Well, the beauty of this is that little groove right under there, teeth of an invisible zipper will fit beautifully. So I moved over my needle to the left just slightly, maybe I don't know, 1 millimeter maybe, now maybe 2, to get the needle right up next to the teeth so it would do what it's supposed to do. When you zip it up, it kind of rolls in. Worked beautifully. I was so happy about that. And I'm even inspired to get a whole set of presser feet that will work with my machine. I have a lot of feet that came with my machine, but yeah, I don't generally use all of them because I don't know, you just don't need to. It's like decorative stitches on your machine. You know, you pretty much just go straight stitch, zigzag stitch, and maybe 1 or 2 other stitches that you might do, but most of the decorative stuff on my machine I just don't even use. And talking about presser feet, this brings me to my question for this week for Friday Sews. And the question is, what is the one sewing tool or accessory that everybody loves, but you can't seem to figure out how to use? For me, it is this. And in fact, in that class on presser feet, I raised my hand and I said, what is this witchcraft that you have to know in order to get this foot to work? This is a rolled hem foot. And he pretty much gave me the same song and dance as everybody that knows how to use this, which was, you know, you just got to go slow. You got to start and you got to give yourself extra fabric and, I don't know, all these things. And I say all of these things because it's not that I didn't listen. It's not that I didn't try what he said. But my problem with this is that, yes, I can get going, but I can't keep it consistent. Like, it won't keep working. Like, you know, it gets off track and then it wants to just, it's maddening. I can do a baby hem by just pressing something. I just don't even bother to press it the second time. I just go over and roll it as I go with a regular foot. No big deal. You know, I just don't get it. I don't get it. So, you know, I'm sure you're going to give me all kinds of things, advice and all kinds of ways to, if you only just do this, just do this, just do this. You know what? I've tried them all. I promise you, I have tried them all and they don't work. And this is not for me. It's just, I am not inspired enough by anybody's advice to ever want to go through the hassle of what I've been through. I mean, I've put it aside, come back to it and said, oh, okay, I'm going to conquer it this time. Yeah, it never works. So let me also tell you, in here, things are changing and things are, I mean, it's a mess. I don't know if you can see behind me, but it's just a wreck. There's stuff everywhere. And the reason is I'm redoing the sewing room again, yet again. I wanted better shelving. I wanted better storage. And I knew, because I spent a lot of time measuring and figuring and doing a lot of math to find out what a better way would be to contain all my patterns, plus still have shelving, plus more shelving and storage to put all the stuff away. A lot of what I'm having to put away was in a closet in the old sewing room, and I just never relocated any of that stuff, and I didn't use most of it anyway, so I'm having to get rid of some of it and relocate other parts of it, and so it's a whole thing. But in here, this is a mess. This whole area over here is a disaster because it's being replaced. So it looks similar, but not exactly the same. And also my sewing table is only 4 feet wide, and it needs to be about 6 feet wide. Because when I'm sewing on my regular machine right there, there's no space here. I have like, I don't know, maybe 6 inches. And anytime you're sewing anything with any bulk to it, like a dress with a, you know, with a skirt on it or something like that, anything really, the bulk of the fabric goes right over the edge, and that creates drag, which kind of makes you have to work extra hard to get your stitching to not be distorted. So it's a pain. So I'm going to fix that. Actually, I am in the process of doing that today. I have to put a shelf together. It's a calyx shelf from IKEA because IKEA is taking over my house. But I'm going to try and DIY my table. Not try, I am going to DIY my table. It's an old door. It's 24 inches wide, but it's 6 feet long. And all I need to do are figure out legs, which I think is going to be pretty simple. I've done some research, so I know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to put cork on top of it. I put cork on top of this table, but this is like bulletin board cork. What I got for the top of the sewing table, because especially a serger, sergers are notorious for this, but they vibrate and they want to walk off the table. Well, there are all kinds of cushioning things that you can use, and I have done that, but what I'm going to do this time is I got squares of cork, like 1/2 inch thick. I'm just going to stick them all over the table, and yeah, I'll figure out if I want to get fancy and finish the edges. I don't know. I don't think I really want to work that hard at this point, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I am DIYing. Speaking of DIYing and moving on to life, I am in the midst of my sofa table that I've been talking about doing for over a year. I finally got out there and got going on it, and it's about 3/4 of the way done. I just have to put in some slats to finish out the middle shelf. I need to put the top on, and then I need to paint and stain it, and it will be done. Yes. Lastly, I want to tell you about some friends that I have. I talk about them all the time, Trish and Carmen and Michelle. Trish is Pinky's Farm. She's my new soulmate. I mean, I don't know where she's been all my life, but I just love that woman. You know, some people you just have a chemistry with and you just click. And it's like you can read their mind. And that's how I feel with her. I really can. Now, she did a video talking about the expo, the Sewing Expo that we all went to last weekend. And she talked about me being recognized. She said, oh, everybody recognized Jen from, YouTube. No. Let me set the record straight. I was not the celebrity. What I was is the tall one. Okay, you know what? I am 5'6.5". That doesn't even go into tall clothing. Like in ready to wear, I think you have to be at least 5'7" to be a tall. And that's the very bottom end of tall. I'm not even quite that, but I'm 5'6.5", and I feel like I am a head taller than all of my sewing friends. It's like I'm collecting midgets. They're all just these tiny little people. And I'm so envious because, I don't know, they have these small bodies and they're just the right size. And anyway. So I'm the tall one, but I'm not the celebrity. You know who the celebrity is? That is Michelle, because Michelle can wear color. She loves color. The bold, the bright colors, they just draw people in. And so when we walked around that whole expo, she was the one that got recognized. And I will swear to you, there was a woman named Annette who recognized her. She said, oh my gosh, I watch you on YouTube. Well, to be fair, they were behind a screen. I was on the other side of the screen. So they came around the corner and Michelle pointed to me and said, and there's Jen too. She goes, oh yes, I watch you too. I was like, yeah, I watch you too, but Michelle... That's because Michelle is wonderful. She's welcoming and she's gracious and she's a sweetheart. She really is. And she looks so happy. Just all the colors she wears are just so happy. So, yeah, Trish was laughing and saying that everybody was carrying my train and they were all my ladies in waiting, which is just, Trish, I love you, but that is just so ludicrous. It was much more that we felt like that about Michelle, believe me. She met a whole lot more people than I did. So, setting the record straight there, our friend Mari from MariSews has launched Inspired Leather. This is her new online shop where she makes hats and wallets and bags. And this stuff is beautiful. She hand dyes all the leather, hand stitches all the leather. You can tell I'm speechless. I mean, these things that she does are just so incredibly high quality, so professionally done and done by hand. You got to check out her shop. I will put a link to it below, and I'll also link her Instagram account where she has a lot of photos. And I'll also link her channel down below because she's talked a little bit about that. Mari is a fantastic seamstress. So I think that'll do it for Friday Sews. As always, I love chatting with you in the comments. And if you would like to see the last Friday Sews that I did where I was at the expo, just check right over here. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, who loves you the most?